Now.
Okay, that's fine. So we were here now. Let's continue quickly. So we are talking about the second command. So if you want to override the default command, you have to give that command over here. It can be anything like echo hi there, or it can be ls, showing the list of folders that are available. So this is the second command that we are talking about. So this is our first one, and this is our second one. We are all talking about on the existing images, right? Okay. So to precisely understand this, when we executed this ls like bin dev etc home are there, right? So what this is basically means, so how to understand this is, so the file system snapshot of this particular busybox image has all these files. I'll show you that in the notes that is there for us. Notes. Huh. So this is what we are talking about. Docker run image name and the command. So this is the default command override. So docker run busybox echo hi there. We are getting this image, right? So what is this basically ls means? So this ls, once we give this ls, so the startup command is, we don't know what is the startup command, but that is overridden by the ls. So ls is something which will print whatever the root folders are there. So what are files that are there in the root folder of this particular hardware allocated for this particular container, all those things will be shown to us. So if you see this, we have all these files like bin dev etc home proc. So all these are like multiple folders or the home directory folders that are available in this particular container. Okay, you got this? So on the home directory of this busybox image, so you can consider this container again as a different system. A different system in the sense, on a bigger system, a subpart is created, or the bifurcation of the bigger hard disk is divided into multiple containers, or it's bifurcated into different units. So each and unit is again acts like a different system specifically to run a web app or a particular process, right? So on this particular software system, we have these files on the local system. Like this is like the home directory. For ours, the home directory is users Mohan, right? So for our Windows, I'll say the home directory is, if I go to C users Mohan, this is my home directory. So what are files that are there in this directory will be shown when I give ls over here. So if I say command over here, and if I give ls, it will show us why. This is not Linux, I guess, right? కత్తి ఇక్కడ మన ఫైల్ సిస్టమ్స్ అన్ని చూడాలంటే ఏంటి కమాండ్ విండోస్లో? dir. So these are all the file systems that are similarly in the Linux. To view all the folders that are available, we just need to give ls, so that we will see all the files that are there in the home directory of that particular container. Okay, that is pretty much about docker run and overriding command. So whatever you want to give it over here, whether it is echo hi there, if you give this, that will be executed. If ls is given, that will be executed, and you will see the relevant output in the container. So that is the second like what to say, second override command. And now what I'll do is, I'll give the override command now as run busybox is an image on this particular container. I'm pinging www.google.com. Once I execute this, I guess it will stop right away. I didn't type google.com. So now it is doing some things, like it is trying to ping this particular URL or the server, and it is trying to get the response. Now a particular container is running. Okay, a container, a particular container is running, and if you want to see what are all the containers that are running on your system, you just need to open a different window and say docker ps. When you say docker ps, it will show you what are all the containers that are currently running in your machine. So it has few parameters. So now I have a container like BusyBox is running, and it is trying to execute a command called as ping www.google.com. It is keep on going. It is trying to get that response from the server. So it is trying to keep on doing that. So that particular container is running. So these are the identification parameters of that container. So the container, we will get the container ID, the name of the image, which is BusyBox, and what is the command that we executed. We executed ping www dot. When it is created 36 seconds ago, status up for 34 seconds. So from 34 seconds it is running, and the ports, there are no ports that are running, names. So this is the default or the aliases name that the Docker gives us for every container that is actually running on this machine. Okay, so this is the aliases name that is given by the Docker. Now if you want to, so this is just the running this is just the running container. So now this container is actually running, and it is up from 34 seconds. Now if you want to see both the existing containers as well as the terminated containers, or the exited containers, you just need to say docker ps hyphen all. So once you execute this, now you will see both the containers that got exited as well as containers that are running. You will see all the containers. If you see earlier, we executed hello world container twice, and we executed BusyBox containers with echo hi there, with ls we executed. We have done all these things, right? So these all are executed, and they also got exited from the these containers got exited, they vanished, they are no more, right? That's the reason you see the status as exited. But this is the container that is currently executing, or currently alive, right? So this is how to see how the containers are basically, which containers got exited and which containers are actually available. Okay, now if I want to stop this container running from running status, there are two ways. Okay, the first way is to kill a container. To stop a container, and other one is to kill a container. So let me write these two commands first, and then we will come over here. So the next Docker command is docker ps, right? Is the command. The next command is docker ps hyphen all. So this shows us, this gives both exited and running containers, running container status. So this gives only running containers in the list. Now let's understand how to stop this running container. So it is keep on running, and now we want to stop this container. You want to stop that running container, and again you need to restart the stopped container. Now let's see how to stop the container that is running and how to actually restart the container. So that is something we will learn right now. So now the command for that is, to stop a container is docker stop and the container ID. So this is something that is that we were talking about, docker stop and the container ID. Okay, so what is the container ID? I already showed you what is a container ID basically. So this is the container ID for each and every container that has been created. So this is all. If you want to see only the container that is running, so because that is our interest right now, because we want to stop an running container and we want to restart that container. So docker ps will give all the containers that are running, right? So this is the container ID that you will get it from this command. So now what is the command? This docker stop is one command, and docker kill is the other command. Okay, docker kill and the container ID is the other command that is used to stop the container. Then what is the difference between stop and the kill? So Docker stop says it gives some time for the closing things like the closing processes. So if you say try catch block, in the catch block you want to do few things when you encounter some error, right, in Java. So let's say I'm running a database. Okay, I'm running a database. So whenever there is an issue with the database, when I'm trying to execute a command, if there is an issue that happened, I shouldn't keep the database connection alive. I have to close that database connection before terminating the program that I want to run, right? So that is something I have to mandatorily do when I have to when I got some error with the databases, right? So the terminating the database connection is a compulsory activity, which is like a closing activity that needs to be performed. Similarly, the stop, when you execute Docker stop will give us some time or give some time to the container to execute those closing processes. Okay, it gives some time for the closing processes, some time to closing processes to happen. Whereas Docker kill will instantly terminate the process. This will instantly stop the process without giving any time to perform the closing activities. Instantly terminate the container without giving any time for the closing process to happen, without giving any time for the closing processes to happen. This is the difference between Docker stop and the Docker kill. Okay. So now let's see it in live. Let me execute Docker stop. So when I say Docker stop and the container ID I have to give. So this is the container ID. I'm copying this and pasting it here. So when I execute this particular command, let's see what happens. So just observe that it is taking some time before closing that particular connection, right? So there is a little time that it is taking and then it terminated that. So there is a time span between actually closing it and the time when we triggered this. Okay, now if you actually observe Docker kill, you will not see that time span what you have seen right now. To execute Docker kill, let me restart this server. So how to actually start the stop server is something that we have to understand now. So to start a stopped server, what I have to do is Docker start is the command and the container ID. The container ID is again this one, right? So this is the container ID. Let me copy this and paste it here. And the next command that we learned is Docker start to start a container. Docker start and the container ID. Okay. Now what happens? Let's see. I'm restarting this container. So before executing that, I need to show you something else. So now we are saying like the container is stopped, right? So once the container got exited, so you didn't see any list, any data when execute Docker PS, because Docker PS will show us only the running commands or the running containers. As that is stopped, you are not seeing any records over here. Now let me restart that again. So I'm sorry, I stopped it again. Let's start it. So I'm starting the same container. I'm giving the same container ID. So this is the container ID and I want to start that container now. So again, I'm starting it. So once I started that particular command, I started that command, and when I say Docker PS, look at that again. It is like there is a container ID running because now we started that container, and this is the proofs are saying like the container got started. Now look at Docker kill and the container ID. Let me give the container ID with the kill. Now we have seen the start. I mean, we have seen the stop, but now let me give the kill. So once I give the kill, it immediately within less than a second it just gave this. But for the stop, it is not like that. It gave some ample amount of time for the server to get itself closed, right? Which is not the case with git docker kill. So that's the difference between stop and kill, and that's how we start a process that is actually closed. Now if you again do docker ps, which will return us all the running containers, there are no running containers currently available here, so it is not showing us any containers right now. So this is how basically stop, kill and starting a container works out. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Or do you want me to stop here, or do you want me to continue?
We can continue in the next session, ma'am.
Okay. I guess we just covered only 50% that is planned for today. But let me wind off with one single thing. With that, we will close all this container stuff. We doesn't need to again come back here. We will go with the images then. Give me just 15 to 20 minutes. I'll close few things that needs to be closed, so that we doesn't actually need to come over here. Okay. So now let's understand a different thing. We know what is Docker run. Okay. We know what is Docker run. Docker run is nothing but it is a combination of two things. One is docker create, which creates a container. I mean, allocating the resources happens with this command, and docker start. So docker start will execute the startup command that we have seen. Okay. So this will create docker create, will create the resources, will create the container. I mean, allocating resources and all this stuffs happen over here. Allocating the resources and all. Docker start will execute the Docker start will basically start the containers. Start containers. I mean, to simplify this, execute the startup command. It will execute the startup command. Now, instead of directly running any commands, we know when we say docker run, let me clear this. When I say docker run, hello world, we are seeing some output, right? So we are saying hello run docker. So instead of directly doing docker run, let's do it in two steps. One is docker create and the other one is docker start, and let's see how it basically looks like, how the output basically looks like. So the first thing I need to do is docker create, and the hello world is the image name, right? Hello world. Docker create hello world. So once I have done that, it will create a container, and this is the container ID. Okay. So now the container is created. Now what we want to do, we want to start that container, right? So let's say docker start container ID is something that we have to give. To know the container ID, what we have to give, docker ps is something that we have to do. Sorry, that is not running actually. So docker ps. Okay. So the entire thing, this is the container I told you, right? You can simply give this as well. So it doesn't necessarily needs to give everything. Only first few characters, any number is also sufficient. Let's say docker start to start the container, and the container ID is something that I'll give it away. So I'm copying this and I'm pasting it here. So once I have done that, so it just gave this container ID only. Okay, this gave the container ID only, but we don't know what is actually, but the expected output is this, right? So this is the expected output, but we got some different output. This is not the output, but we have I told you like docker run is something like docker create plus docker start, but docker start, after executing these two, we are not getting the same output of the docker run. So to get the same output, what you have to do is docker start -a is something that you have to give, and the container ID. Once you give this, now you get that output similar to the Docker run. So what is this -a? This -a is used to show us the this will make Docker watch for the output from the container and print it to your console. So without this A, it will not watch for the output. It will just simply execute that, but it will not print out the output that is coming out of the container. To print or to watch the output that is coming from the container, you have to use this command -a. Once you use this, then only you will be able to see the output similar to the Docker run. So this -a is something which will watch out to the terminal of the, which will watch out to the container, watch for the output from the container and print it to your terminal. So that is what basically happens with the Docker start -a. So with that, it is like similar. So what is -a? -a is something which it will constantly watch to the terminal output. -a is, this is something, this will watch, this will make Docker watch for output from terminal container and print it to the your terminal. Okay, this is something that you have to understand. You understand what is Docker run, what is the combination of Docker and Docker create and Docker start, and you have seen how to see the output or monitor the output container output and print it to the console. So that is something you already have seen that. Okay, so then the rest of our part is only one command that I'll try to quickly wind off as early as possible. It just takes another 5 minutes, that's all. So now, do you observe this? That is, I'm clearing everything, and this is the last command. Let's wind off this weekend with this. So when I say Docker run busybox, and here I am giving something like ls. Okay, so when I give ls, what is happening? A container is created called as busybox, and this is executed on the terminal or on the console of this container, and we are getting the output, right? We are executing, we were able to execute only one command on this particular console. Agreed? If I want to execute two commands in the console, let's say if I want to execute ls on the console of this container, and also I want to execute echo hi there. I want to execute two commands. So if I have to do two commands at one go, what I have to do, again I have to run docker run busybox and then echo hi there is should be given. But the criteria is I have to do both the commands and the only with one container creation. Hope you understand the criteria. So with this command, with this overridden command, we were able to execute only one command. But my criteria is I want to execute multiple commands with only one container creation. So if I have to do echo hi there, I have to again create another container, and instead of ls, I have to give echo hi there, right? So once I do this, I can execute only echo hi there on the terminal of this busybox. But that's not the case I need. I want to execute both these commands only with one container creation. So to do that, let's actually see how to execute this or how to achieve this. So for this, what I have to do is I'll first start the container, docker run busybox. Execute command and running container. Okay, so why I used Redis is this is like an in-house memory software. Redis is an in-house, so it can store data and gives us the data, and it will just returns us. If I run this docker run busybox, what happens is it will simply close it. But we have something called as, this is like I want to keep this server running, okay, the container running. So I created a Redis container. Redis is something like an again another image. This is basically an in-house storage memory. So we can store the data and we can retrieve the data onto this. Now on this Redis image which I have created, what I will do is I'll open another instance of this, and if I say docker ps, now I got something like a running container. So it is up 54 seconds back and it is running, and this is the container ID. So I got the container ID. I copied this. So this is the container ID. Now I want to do some operations on this containers terminal or on the console or on the command prompt of this Redis container. So now this Redis container is a separate system on which Redis is running. Now on this container, I want to open the terminal or the command prompt, and I want to execute few commands. So for that, the command is to open the command prompt. So we can execute docker execute is the command. So execute is always used to do something on the running containers. Only on the running containers you can do this operation. On the stopped container, so this is an exited container. That's why I haven't used busybox, but we can keep Redis running for some amount of time until unless we close this, it will run, because this busybox will be terminated after executing whatever command that we give. It will not stay alive. Okay, that's why I used Redis, which is an in-house image. For the Redis image in-house storage system is the Redis software, and this Redis is the image of that particular software. So I can use docker execute only on the running containers -it. I'll tell you what is this, and what is the next syntax is container ID, and we want the container ID to be pasted over here. The container ID for that is this one. So get this copied, right click, copy and paste it here, and give a space, and here give whatever command that I want to give. So for now I want to open Redis CLI. So if I want to open that, just give Redis -CLI, which will open the CLI of that particular command. So this says we have to add winpty at the before the command. It is just like the way of connecting to it, winpty. So now we got that control, like we got that command line of that particular image, which is like Redis image container. So now on this we can execute whatever we want to execute. If we say ls, it's not, ls is not reckoned. So if I say set key set my number, so I want to set value for the my number as 5. So I set that. So get my number, so that number will be printed. So we are storing some, as I told you, Redis is an storage in-house storage system. So we are storing a number, a key with value 5, and we are getting that value. So on this command prompt we can execute whatever commands that we want to execute. So let's say we can even execute echo hi there. Okay. Echo hi, so that hi will be printed. So this is a terminal kind of thing. We can execute whatever commands that we want to execute on this particular terminal, which Redis basically supports. So this is like Redis container, whichever commands that Redis supports, and whatever commands that you want to, like if you want to store the data, this is the syntax to get the data. So whatever data that the Redis supports, you can execute that on this terminal. Okay, that is what basically how to execute or how to open a command line on a running container. Okay, so if you want to exit from this, do Control+C. That's all.
So this remote command prompt, right? You open. What kind of OS is this using? Windows or Linux?
Linux only. Everything, whatever we do with the Docker, it uses Linux OS only. Okay. I haven't explained you the architecture yet. Maybe in the next session, the first topic will be that. These are all the basic commands. I missed it somehow. Once it is explained, you will get a clear understanding of that. So for today, let's wind off with this execute command. Maybe it has few other combinations. I'll also explain you that. Docker execute -it and the container ID. And the command can be anything. It can be like Redis CLI if it is to open the Redis CLI, or sh to open the shell scripting, shell over there. Okay, so this is all about the creating the container. Now we need to understand what is I hyphen I and what is hyphen T. Hyphen I is something like similar to hyphen A, allows us to provide input to the container. So this will allow us to provide input to the container. So we can give some inputs to the container on the console. Provide to the container, and hyphen T. Hyphen it is a combination of hyphen I and hyphen T. Hyphen T is like indentation. So to get the outputs in a clean and neat fashion, we will get that. So again, I'll execute that for you without I and T, how it looks like, and let's see how this basically. I'm executing now without hyphen I and T. So with this, what we are seeing, we are not able to give any inputs to this. So we are not able to give any inputs, because to give any inputs to this console, we have to give hyphen I. So let me go back here, and if I give hyphen I over here, I should be able to give some inputs to this. But we are able to give inputs, but we are not seeing any indentations like this, a clear input, something like that. Now here I can say set my number 5. So it said okay. It's the same output, but there is no clear indentation. We don't know what is actually, whether it is done or whether it is open or something. But with T, the output, the inputs that we are giving and the outputs that we are getting will be more clear, and we will see something is happening on there as well. So when I say get my number, I'll get that output. I'm getting that output, but there is no clear understanding of on whether the console is opened or not. So if I give hyphen I and hyphen T, we will get something like a clear understanding of what is happening. So with T, an indentation will be provided. Here we can say get set, and also we are getting the options that we have to give. My number 5 is something that I have to set. Get my number, we're getting it. So that's the whole thing of git execute. So docker execute can be run only on the running containers, can be used only on the running containers, can be used only on the running containers. Now the next thing is, so it's the same again. Instead of Redis CLI, I'll give it as an sh. Okay, so docker CLI execute, and I'll give it as sh. So this will again open the console, and the same happens over here. I'll get my number, set my number 5, get my number. Sorry. Get my number. What's happening? Hi there. Okay, so this will open a shell script on which the get is not working. So let's say export b is equal to 5 $b. Okay, so these are the syntax that works on this shell scripting of this container, on the shell of this container. Okay, which is like a doc container again. I'm not sure why this is not getting value. assembler. Let's see, like this is like opens the shell script of that. sh is something which will open. It's a program executed inside that container. sh is a command processor or shell that allows us to type commands in and how they will execute it inside a container. This is something like the shell command. Shells, we have the command prompt is different and the command prompt is different, and we also have like shell scripting, shell Windows PowerShell. So this is something different. So here also we will be able to execute some commands. So this best to open this PowerShell and to execute on that, we have to say sh, and if it is a command prompt, we can say the previous one. What is that? Redis CLI for this particular Redis image. Okay, so that is what basically sh means. So the other one is docker execute -it container ready and the sh. And last one, which is starting with a cell. And also one important thing that I'll cover, and we'll wind off that with that. So let me stop this container which is running right now. Do Control C. Okay. So now I have a command that is working. So Control C is to stop that, stop whatever that we are open, the cell or the command prompt that we open. Control C is something that you have to press. If that is not working, you just press Control D. Okay. Now I'm saying Docker PS, and let's see what are all the processes that are running. So I'll kill this particular container. So to kill that, say Docker kill and the name of it pasted. I have done that. Once it is done, the Docker is killed. The process is killed. Now what I will do is I'll again start a Docker run -it busybox in pty, something that I have to append. So now I got, when I added -it, what does -it means? Allows us to provide inputs to the container, right? Allows us to provide. So that's the reason we are seeing this. We are able to give some inputs to the container. So here what I'll do, this is like a command prompt. On the ls, when I say ls, okay, I'm getting all these folders, right? Now here I'll create a notepad like with the name of hi there. Okay, and when I again say ls, I have an again hi there folder created over here, right? So this is one instance of the container of this busybox. Okay, now if I open another instance of this busybox, and here also I'll say docker run -it busybox sh. This is another instance of the busybox. So just I'm using the same image, right? I'm using the same image and I'm using the same message. So basically I created a new folder hi there. When I say list of folders, list of files or folders, I got hi there over here. So I'm using the same image now and I'm giving sh. Okay, let me add WinPDY at the end start. So here I'm adding WinPDY space docker run it. So when I say ls over here, I don't see the hi there over here. Can someone tell me the reason why I am not able to see hi there?
maybe not sure, Mohan, because you open this command prompt again with the same for the same container.
So one thing that I have to understand is, whenever you are using Docker run, it creates a container of that image, which is BusyBox, right? So once you run Docker run BusyBox, it created one container. Okay, it created one container. So this is the first instance of that BusyBox. So it created one container of that BusyBox. So inside that container, what are the file systems that are there? What are the file systems that are there? We have multiple file systems, like we have ls, hi there, something like this we have. Okay, along with this we added something called as hi there. So this is an hi there file. Okay, and we have all the rest of the files. And now again we are creating a new container with again a new command, docker run. So in this container, so we are creating a new container in the sense everything will be again a separate unit. Whenever you say docker run, it will create a separate container. It will not rely on the existing containers. So on this container, by default, whatever files that will be there with this container, I mean whatever that is mentioned on the image BC box, only those files will only be present. So that what you have to understand over here is, whenever you run docker run, it creates a container, and that container will be a separate resource or a separate machine. It will not have any dependency on the previous docker container that you have run. If you even see docker ps now, even if you see docker ps, you will see two containers that are running. So both are busy boxes, but both are different containers with different container IDs. Okay, so whenever you run docker run, it will create a separate container with unique resources allocated only for that instance. Clear?
Clear. So it depends on the ID, not about the naming, right? For the containers.
Sorry.
So Docker only considers the ID of the container, not the name. Correct? Name can be duplicated.
No, name cannot. It's like image. So
Yeah,
with one image, we can create any number of containers. So, but once you run docker container, docker run, it will create a separate instance of the container, even if the image name is same. So that is what it is shown over here on one of the slides. If you say with one image, we can create any number of instances of the container. Each container again will have its own resources, and we also have seen container how it looks like. It will have its own resources, own kernel, own startup command. Everything will be its own.
got it.
That's all for today.